I'm Roland Comfort, real estate photographer in St. Louis, Missouri. In this movie, I'm going to show you how to edit great real estate photographs using the new Photoshop Creative Cloud CC. The very first thing you need to do is download Photoshop. So do a Google search of Adobe Photoshop CC, and that should take you to several sites. Here's a good deal at the Adobe website, as long as it comes up. And just click on Photoshop CC, and I guess they're giving you Lightroom for $9.99 a month, and that's with a 1-year membership. So you just click on Join and follow the links from which you will eventually be able to download Photoshop CC to all of your computers, actually, your desktop, your laptops, and any other computers that you use. Okay, after you're set up, you're going to want to load your camera CF card onto your computer. First, we have to import our pictures into Photoshop. To do that, we use Bridge, especially because we're shooting raw files. But before doing that, I usually set up a folder in my, on my hard drive. In this case, I've set up 122 main, and then right under that, 122 main for net. After doing that, I open Bridge, and it doesn't matter where you are. It just happened to be on this other file, and we go to File. We get photos from camera. That's going to bring up the screen where we can select our device, and that's going to be the EOS Digital, which is our compact flash card. And we wait a second for these to start to load in here. They're all checked. I usually uncheck this last metadata file. We're going to then browse as to where we want to save it, and sure enough, we are going to go to the file that we set up, which is 122 main. So that's where we're going to go, is to 122 main, and we're selecting that folder. So that should appear up here now, and this will automatically create a folder in that folder, which is the shot date. I usually put a custom name, which in this case 12XX underscore, let's call it main, MAIN. All right, and then we're going to tab out of there. These are raw files, so we're going to open them in Bridge. We're going to convert to DNG files, and then here's some other information if you want to use that. Basically, just click Media, Get Media. I have 100 photographs in this shoot. And as you can see, it takes a few minutes for them to come in. We're on file 4 of 100, 5 of 100. We'll let this run, and we'll come back as soon as it's finished. As soon as your pictures have loaded in Bridge, the first thing you want to do is select the ones you want to edit. Shooting strobist style, I usually take several pictures of each shot, and so we're going to select all. I'm going to go to View, Review Mode, And that's going to bring up a screen like this that I can arrow back and forth using arrows. And I've only, the ones I want to select, I'm just going to click a 1. Okay, and I only have one of that one, so I'm taking that one. I only have one of that one, I'm taking that one. I only have one of that one. I don't even like that. I'm not going to use it. I'll select that. Here's the back. I think I like that second one. I think I like the first one best. Yeah, I don't know. I'll take the bright one. Take that one. Take the first one. And I think you get the picture. You just pick the ones you want. And I like that one. Like that one. I'll probably go with that last one. More often than not, it is the last one. Although I'm taking a lot of first ones here. Let's go ahead and use that one. And you just work your way through until you have selected the pictures you want. And you will escape out. And you'll see here, looking at this mark, this dot on this side, so far I had selected 17 pictures, and it was now only showing the 17 that I selected. I'll normally end up with, on a regular real estate shoot, anywhere from 30 to 45 to 50 different pictures. Let's open a picture to edit, and we will open in Camera Raw. I purposely removed all of my settings in Camera Raw to show you how I set them up. Step 1 is to go to Lens Correction and Profile, enable Lens Profile Correction. And this can see that I shot this picture on a Sigma 1020, and so on, and it's made correction for the lens distortion. We're also going to want to add remove the chromatic aberration, and in manual, as far as the upright or the shape of the picture, we are going to go to automatic, and that should make some changes that puts the vertical lines as vertical as it can get them. In order to save my settings, I'm going to go over to the basic color settings, and I always add about 10 of vibrance and 10 of clarity, and leave the others at default. What we can do now is save these settings, and save, and I'm just going to call this RE Photo, P-H-O-T-O. And so we are now saving that, and we will have this setting for us in the future. From here, we're going to go to Auto, which looks a little too bright to me, so I'm going to drag that down just a bit. And I'm going to check the white balance. As shot is 4550. I usually just hit Auto, and it goes to 44. Maybe in between, 4500. That looks pretty good. You can also check any of these others, contrast and that kind of thing, but I usually don't have the need. At that point, you're going to open image, and that takes you into Photoshop. And there's a lot to do in Photoshop. I'm going to run through these as quickly as I can. It's opening the picture. The very first thing I do, and I have set up an automatic for this, but basically it's image, adjustments, shadow highlight, I do it using a keyboard shortcut that I've set up. I probably don't need it on this picture, but the highlights, I can take those down just a little bit to 4. And then shadows, you can see this can bring up a lot of the shadows, but I don't want to overdo that either. So I'm just bringing that up to about 3 and then OK. But in virtually every photograph that I shoot for real estate, I blow out the ceiling. So the first you do is go to the Dodge tool and shadows, and I've got these set at only 12%. All of these settings, both the shadow, the midtones, and then in these other items I'm going to use, they're set only at 12%. So I'm going to blow out some shadows, but I can also lighten some of this furniture and that floor. I can lighten back here in this hall a bit. Then we're going to go to midtones. Again, I'm blowing out the ceiling. It's not so necessary on this one because this is a nice looking ceiling, but in a house that has very rough, a lot of plaster, ripples and things, if you blow it out, it really just doesn't show. So that's the midtones. I'm normally going to then complete with the sponge tool, saturate, where I do shamelessly oversaturate anything that has some colors in it. So I don't know if you can see how that is getting saturated, but it is, and it's really bringing out those colors. And I'll even do the fan a bit. Okay. Now, normally everything from here out is automated, but I'm going to have to step through these myself to show you what we do. Next step is to go to Filter, and we're going to do a noise, reduce noise. And my settings, I've preset these, they stay the way you set them, is strength is 10, I've got details 20, colors 30, and sharpen details 10%. And then we're just going to go OK. So that is reducing noise. Okay. Then the next filter is going to be the Smart Sharpen. And I also have this set, and it'll stay wherever you set it at the amount at 100%. Radius is only 1 pixel. I think it defaults to 3. And these others the way they are, and on lens blur. And so we go OK with that. All right. Then the next is to fade the Smart Sharpen that we just did. And I usually bring this down to 60 or 70%. Let's just put this at 70. And the mode is not normal, but we go to luminosity. And that's why we're doing this fade, and then that's OK. Now we have to get these pictures ready for the real estate agents to upload to the internet, and they really don't need to be the full-size JPEGs. So with the image, I come down to image size, and on the width, I do 1280. And these are pixels. And then it defaults to the height, and the resampling is automatic, or if you want to use it by cubic, well, they've changed this from the old. Let's just leave it at automatic, and then we go auto. So we now have a smaller picture. And the last thing you have to do is save for the web. And this is going to change from the Adobe RGB to the sRGB, and it also allows you to make some JPEG settings. I go in a high quality, which is a 70. Sometimes I do an 80. You want to leave optimize, embed color, convert to sRGB. Computer websites, by and large, can only work with sRGB. It's not as good as Adobe, but you need to convert there. your pictures will tend to lighten just a little bit. And we already have the image size set. You then are going to click Save. I keep a folder set up in my Photoshop area called Edit for Net. And so that all of these always go to that folder, and then I cut and paste back into wherever I want to use them. But this way I never have to change those settings. And so then basically we have saved that picture, and in Photoshop then I do not save the Photoshop finished picture. I simply do not save it. And if we go to the folder of Edit for Net, we'll see that our picture is there. We can batch process pictures in Camera Raw and Photoshop as well. Let's just select, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. We've selected these 4 pictures. And now we're going to open in Camera Raw. And you see that all 4 pictures are in. You can do 4 or you can do 40 pictures if you want. But I find 6 or 7 is probably about the best. Select all. And we're going to go to our presets. And you'll remember we made the RE photo preset. And you see it's working its way down. It's applying all of those presets to these pictures. Now let's select just this first picture. And you may want to drop a crop on it to I don't know what's going on with this. Clear crop. Drop a crop on it. And this does give you some lines that you can see if, you know, how straight you are. But assuming you're happy, or if you're not happy, you can also adjust the distortion, which pushes a picture in or out, and the vertical, horizontal, rotate, vertical, for instance, like that. Horizontal changes it. So we're going to go back to 0, 0, and we're going to leave it the way that it set it. So basically from this point, with one picture selected, you're going to go over to the general settings, and I hit auto, and I'm okay with that. And the other thing I check is the white balance. That was 47 something, 47. It's all about the same. I'm going to stay right there. So I'm going to be happy with that picture the way it is. And at this point, I forgot to do it earlier, but I'm going to check the cropping and the straightening on these others. And those all look pretty good. And those are all pretty straight, the way I like them. And Control 0. So we did the first one. The second picture, same thing, auto. I could maybe add a bit of exposure to that one. White balance is 4800. Let's go to auto on that, 4900. I think I liked it better the way it was. Let's bring the auto up on this. It might be a bit bright, so I may bring that down a bit. And I'm not going to go through all of these other adjustments on these other than to click on the auto so that we have some decent pictures to look at. I've shown you how to do that in the earlier part. Now we want to go take all of these pictures into Photoshop, so we're going to select all. And actually, let me show you something. If only one is selected, it says Open Image. If you select all, it says Open Images. So they're all selected, and these images are now going to open in Photoshop. Now these will start to load across the top of the screen. There's one. And there's 2. If you do more than 7 or 8, like 10 or 12 or 15 or 50, they will appear. There will be a little drop down over on this right side of the screen that'll just list them in a big long list. You highlight the one, highlight whichever one you want. Okay, all 4 have loaded. And For instance, in this one, this might be a good candidate for the shadow highlight. I'm going to bring up my shadow highlight and probably knock down this door a bit. So I've knocked down that door quite a bit. And I can bring up some of this furniture. All right, you can see how I'm bringing that up. So, but I try not to overdo it. So that's there. Okay, and normally I would go do each of these with one function. Okay, so now we're back to this one, and I'm going to do the ceiling, dodge the shadows, and so I'm dodging this shadow. I may dodge this furniture, anything dark a bit more. While I've still got the dark up, I'm going to just go to the next picture and do that. Bring up this one. I don't need much. I'm going to take some of that darkness out on this floor, this furniture, a little bit of that dark out. I'm going to lighten that a bit. I'm going to do the same thing with that. Okay, we're going to do the midtones. So now you can see I'm lightening that ceiling quite a bit, lightening all that in there. And we can lighten that, lighten this a bit. And same thing there. And this ceiling needs quite a bit of lightening, like that. And the sponge tool. Now you want to hit all the colorful stuff, especially the windows, the floor, anything like that. All of this glitzy stuff, yellows, and I try to bring out a lot through the windows and all of that. So now let's say we've done these two the way we want to do them. I go back to my selection tool. What we want to do now is do all of that processing, which was the sharpening and noise reduction and changing the size and all of that. We want to do that as a batch process. And to do it, and I didn't show you how to set it up, but I have set up a landscape 1280, I call it, and you can see it reduces the noise, smart sharpens, it fades, changes the image, and it exports it. And I can show you how to do that in a later video. But the way you do a batch of all of this is you go to File, and you go to Automate, Batch. And we're going to Default Actions, and I had set up an action in a real estate folder. That's a portrait. I want the landscape 1280. And that is going to take everything that's on the screen and process it. And so we'll see what it's doing. It's doing the it's done the noise reduction on this particular picture already. And smart sharpen. And this will only take a minute or so. And as you see, it's processing these 4 pictures as we just sit back and watch. And we should be getting to the next one pretty soon. And it's handling all of those processes that we did manually in the very first one. You can get up and go do something while it does this. And I guess there's one left. So this takes a second. All right. And then as before, I'm going to try to close Photoshop. And it's going to say, do you want to save it? No. You want to save the other one? No. 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 And we're back to here. And if we go over to our edit for net, if I can find it, edit for net, you'll see that our pictures are in there. And I might as well show you. Then on the very end, you're going to take these, you're going to right click, you're going to cut, and you're going to take them back up to our original 122 main for net, and paste. And so that'll then leave our finished pictures will be in our folder area where we want them, and edit for net will now be empty. That's about it. Thanks for watching, and do check out my website, ourcomfortphotography.com, to learn more tips and tricks about shooting great real estate photographs.